Good morning, everyone. My name is Gordon Malcheski. I'm your president-elect of your board. I use the pronouns he, him, and I have the pleasure of being your worship associate for today's service. I welcome all of you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Roanoke. It's really great to have all of you with us here today. We extend a special welcome to those of you who are joining us for the very first time. It's our sincere hope that you will find a spiritual home here and that you will also join us for a coffee hour after the service for some refreshment and good conversation. It'll be directly behind you in the fellowship hall. We also extend a welcome to those of you joining us on YouTube today. So if you would please take a moment, turn around, face the camera and wave to those that are online. And for those of you joining us on YouTube, if you have any joys or concerns that you'd like to share with the congregation, if you would please put those into chat in the next 15 minutes. We acknowledge the land upon which this church rests, which is part of the traditional territory of the Tutelo and Monacan peoples, some of whom continue to live and work in this area. We recognize their historical and ongoing connection to this land, and we offer gratitude and respect. Our minister is the Reverend Walter LaFleur, and his sermon today is titled, Water, the Elixir of Life. Sounds refreshing. Our words of welcome. Please feel free to join me in reciting these words as you are comfortable. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you express your identity, whatever your situation in life, whatever your experience of the holy, as you come seeking love, your presence here is a gift. Whether you are filled with sadness, overflowing with joy, needing to be alone with yourself, or eager to engage with others, all who welcome all are welcome here. And our covenant, please join me as well. We commit to supporting each other with respect and direct communication as we work in community to explore spiritual growth and be a force for good in the world.
Doom ticka doom doom doom. Doom ticka doom doom doom. Doom ticka doom doom doom. Doom doom ticka doom doom doom. Doom ticka doom doom doom. The river is a sage. The river knows no end, and the river feels no age. The river calls me over, it's calling out my name. In the day and in the night, I hear that river roll the same. It's calling me over, calling out my name. Oh, a river gathers tears, just like a river gathers rain. water I feel whole. You put your right hand in. You put your right hand out. You do the hokey pokey, and you turn yourself about. That's what it's all about, folks. I woke up the other day with that in my mind and in my head. The morning's task had been to finish planning the morning service today. My non-conscious mind had apparently already begun to work. My conscious mind was not quite ready to play, however. But it did seem an apt metaphor for life in a UU congregation. Ideally, congregational life is a place where you are encouraged to be your full selves and where you're forgiven for being your full selves and where you are supported in sharing the fullness of who you are. It's a place you are pulled and encouraged to put your whole selves in. A UU water communion is a wonderful metaphor for Unitarian Universalism. We light our chalice with the following words. May your own light shine bright. May it be rekindled when our flame is overshadowed by the circumstances of life. May you find nourishment in this place. Not to harm, to help and not to hinder. To serve you, O Spirit of God.
Hey, y'all. Good morning. My name is Jessie, and I'm the director of Lifespan Faith Development here. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm going to invite up all young folks or young at heart. You can come up here. We're not sitting down today, so stay standing up and come on over here. This is unusual. You're right. So what? Hey, so what is in these pictures out here? Water. So today we have a very special ceremony that we are going to start together. I have a pitcher of water here. It's a little small teapot of water, and this water is very special. Can anybody guess why? What you got? All my hopes and dreams are in this water. You're right. And so many other people's hopes and dreams and experiences are in this water. This is water that has been part of the water communion here for ages. We had some in the freezer. And every year, some of you out there might remember this, every year somebody's responsibility is to boil that water and put it in the freezer for next year. And we thought that water disappeared, but every year I saved a little bit of water. So I had some of that water from years and years and years, and I poured that into the water that we used last year. And then guess what we did? We boiled it and put it in the freezer. And when we do this ingathering, we gather in, everybody brings a little bit of water. We also have some symbolic water here that people can pour in, but you guys are going to pour in this water. Now, some of the people that brought this water have moved away. Some of them have passed away. This water is the legacy of our water communion here, which means the story that we tell year to year to year. So, Acelia, I'm going to let you pour a little bit of this water in that big vessel right there. It is big. Good job. and we'll pass it around, and everybody can pour a little bit of that water. And some of you, this may be your first time pouring water for water communion. Keep going. It's okay. Things happen. Thank you, Randall. It didn't break. So this water will mingle with the rest of the water that comes in from out there. So we're actually going to move back, and we're going to let Rev Walter take over and tell us about the water communion. And we have water available for folks to pour symbolically. And this water, that legacy water, is also for the folks out on YouTube who can't be here today. We're going to pour some water for them as well.
In 1980, two Unitarian Universalist women, Carolyn McDade and Lucille Longview, were asked to create a worship service for the Women and Religion Continental Convocation of Unitarian Universalists. They created a ritual that spoke to our connectedness to one another, to the totality of life, and to our place on this planet. They said water is more than simply a metaphor. It's elemental and primary, calling forth feelings of awe and reverence. While the ritual has morphed over the years, it still holds great power in the symbolism of who we are collectively as a faith community. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you all to come forward with water that I hope you brought this morning. Then return to your seats. We'll save some of the water to be used during the church year. Why don't we start from the back, perhaps, and find your way forward if you brought water to bring, to mingle.
We have symbolic water.
And if you didn't bring water, we provided some just in case. Please. We bless this water as a reflection of who we are as individuals, who we are as a faith community, who we are as Unitarian Universalists, and who we are as citizens of the world we inhabit. May we acknowledge our responsibilities to one another.
Our reading for today comes from So Far From Home, Lost and Found in Our Brave New World by Margaret Wheatley. Complex systems are capable of self-regulation, of ordering themselves, but only from internal coherence to agreed on values. Nature's complex system achieve order without control, order that displays itself in patterns of great beauty. The intricate, infinite patterns of fractals and the rhythmic beauty of strange attractors mesmerize with their revelations of life's deep harmony. These exquisite patterns are self-organization made visible. Diverse and plentiful parts interacted and interpenetrated to create a well-ordered system. Systems begin to form in life as individuals recognize that they have neighbors who they must get along with to survive. Individuals develop relationships, adapting their needs and changing their behaviors so that life works for them and their neighbors. In organizing their behaviors, every individual uses the same rules or principles. In an ecosystem, different species self-organize according to natural laws. We humans self-organize around shared values, clear agreements, norms, culture. This is a process of bounded freedom or semi-autonomy. Individuals are free to make choices within the boundary set by shared agreements. Over time, a system emerges that serves both individuals and the whole. This well-ordered system arises from powerful, cohering forces. Every participant makes choices and regulates its behaviors using the same rules or values. The beautiful order of complexity arises from deep within the system, from internal coherence, not external control.
As much as I like flowers and the flower ceremony that we use during the closing of the church calendar, where we use flowers as a representation of who we are as a community, I love the water communion even more. What I love most about the water communion is that we get to see each other as we come forward. We get to see who we are as a faith community all at once. The tall ones, the old ones, the young ones, as individuals, as families. Through the gathering and mingling of water, we symbolically come together as one. It's wonderful symbolism of who we are as a faith community. It's wonderful symbolism of our covenantal agreement to be in right relations with one another. And at the same time, it honors our recognition of being part of the interconnected web of all existence. Perhaps hidden in the ritual and the ceremony is the fact that we cannot survive without other interconnectednesses. We cannot be a faith community by ourselves. We truly are dependent on one another, like it or not. Rituals motivate us. They ground us, they tether us, and have the ability to reach us at a visceral level. Through the ritual, we build families and community. We make transitions and mark important events in our lives. We express ourselves in joy. We express ourselves in sorrow. And perhaps most importantly, we create and we sustain identity. Water is foundational to all life forms that we know. We come into human existence through the context of water. All life, as we know it, requires water to survive, even life forms found in the desert. Water presents itself in different ways, often unrecognizable in its alternate forms. We can find water as ice. We can recognize it as steam or as a liquid. It expands as it freezes, decreases as it evaporates, and erodes as it travels to its destination. Water has inherent power that is not necessarily obvious. Within the body, water regulates our temperature. It moistens the tissues in the eyes, our nose, and our mouth. It protects bodily organs. It carries nutrients and oxygen to cells. It lessens the burden on our kidneys and liver by flushing away waste products. When I first saw the Grand Canyon, I was awestruck. I'll never forget the experience. Seeing the canyon, imagining it being cut by water, was more than my mind could comprehend. I was seeing the work of 6 million years. Learning that it exposed rocks that were more than 1,800 years old was just data in comparison. Water, water everywhere. The earth is covered by water. 70% of the earth's surface is water. 96% of which is oceanic water. Every living thing on earth has learned to adapt to the existence of water, whether it's an internal need for water or the potential uses of water or the realities of water in our larger environment. There's increasing concern for our lakes and streams. Both are showing signs of the impact of pollution, raising concerns for the follow-on impact on people, on plants, on animals, on Earth itself. Altered weather patterns have impacted much of the country, perhaps most significantly out west. Over a few decades, they've experienced hotter and drier summers. I've read that Lake Mead loses over 6 feet of water per year to evaporation. A large swath of the country needs to be on a steep learning curve in order to adjust to such realities. Sea level change, in largest measure, is a result of global warming. As temperatures rise, the ocean absorbs increased heat, which causes water to expand. As water in its frozen form is affected by heat as well, melting glaciers are increasingly impacting the expansion and salination of the oceans. The strength and power of water is shown not only in its destructive capabilities, perhaps because we come from water, from primordial times to birth in human form. We also have come to know its redemptive value. Around the world, water evokes a sense of purity, clarity, calm. All our senses respond to water. It seems all established religions hold water in a vaulted position. They seem to recognize water as the most vital element of life, if not as life itself. They seem to hold in common a view of water as some form of purity, some form of clarity, calm, with redemptive qualities. In Taoism, water is used as a metaphor for the path of life. As always moving forward, it adapts to turns, twists, and obstacles. In the Hindu tradition, all water is sacred. Bathing in a river washes away sins. The souls of dead are sent to heaven when their ashes are immersed in the Ganges River. In the Buddhist tradition, water symbolizes life. Water is a particular element which in nature carries everything together. Water symbolizes purity, clarity, and calmness, and reminds one to cleanse the mind to attain a state of purity. There is a celebration of the sacred waters of knowledge in Bali each year. The Banyu Penaru ceremony, it's called. People head to the river, lake, or beach early in the morning. In large gatherings, they begin to douse themselves with flowing water to rejuvenate the mind, to rejuvenate the body and the soul. In animistic religions, people honor and respect water as sacred, as life-sustaining. Cultural traditions, laws, and ways of life hold them responsible for the caring of the sacred gift, which is understood to connect all of life, all which is alive. I've read that water is mentioned 722 times in the Bible, more often than faith, more often than hope, prayer, or worship. It's factoid. I didn't know. I did know, however, that holy water, water blessed by clergy, is used in baptism to bless individuals, to bless religious articles, homes, and churches, all as a means of removing uncleanliness, the power of water. Christianity uses water as a metaphor for life itself. In the book of John, Jesus said, "Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again, but whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. The water that I shall give him shall be in him, a well of water springing up into everlasting life." While Unitarian Universalists generally don't use water to baptize, we clergy do in fact use water to anoint babies during a dedication ceremony. And we honor water as an integral part of this interconnected web of which we are just apart. And we use the water ceremony, as in our water communion, as a way of representing who we are as a faith community here and a faith community in the larger world of Unitarian Universalism. Our water communion symbolically represents a coming together again as a faith community comprised of many different waters, a coming together as one despite our very real differences, symbolizing our ability to be in right relation with one another, bound in a shared covenant. As a faith community, we have unseen powers that can do mighty things through consistent and repetitive effort. We can be drawn, we can be warm and embracing with an impact akin to having medicinal qualities. We can develop warm relationships that become a place of incubation of what is to come, buoyed by the acceptance of one another. The act of acceptance can help to cleanse another's soul, purify the spirit, help heal the sick, and be a balm to those in need. Acceptance can provide a place of comfort, help to birth new beginnings, open new pathways in people's lives. Acceptance is a form of love. While I'm fond of water as a metaphor for congregational life, there's an aspect of water that I think we as a faith community must be very leery of emulating. Water seeks the path of least resistance, driven by the laws of physics. We, on the other hand, have been blessed by and cursed with rational thought, the ability to choose. There will be times in our lives and in the life of the church when seeking the path of least resistance leads us away from our desired objectives, away from our wants and our hopes, away from our vision and away from our mission. We, unlike water, have the ability, the responsibility, in fact, to choose our path. There will be times in our individual and collective lives that we will need to go over or through resistance, not around it in avoidance. If we're to be true to ourselves, if we're to be true to our mission, to our vision, true to our calling as a faith community. So I ask you to go now in search of what is yours to do, what is ours as a congregation to do, as a congregation to be. May you travel in good company, and may God, the force, good luck, be with you. Amen. Let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory, a community of hope. For we are now the keepers of the dream. The offering will be gratefully received. We're grateful you are here. We're grateful you are among one another and hopefully strengthened by being a part of this larger community.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Linda Wood from the Caring Committee, and I'm here this morning to do one of the duties that our Caring Committee does, which is to present to you as a congregation some of the joys and concerns that we are having as a group. If you have anything that you would like to share with everybody on a Sunday morning, you can call a member of the Caring Committee, email somebody, call the church, or leave it in this booklet, which is on the altar in the mornings or in the niche beside the name tags during the week. So into this sacred space, we bring quite a few things this morning. First of all, wasn't it a joy to see Alice Davis without her black bag this morning and her oxygen cannula? She's still weaning off. She's not totally out of the woods yet, but it's great to see you making progress, Alice, and so good to see you here. Second, let's see. Terry Smith is in our YouTube audience, and we all need to say Terry has recovered so well from the hip replacement that she had last Thursday morning. She's doing great. She's so pleased and thankful for all the messages of encouragement and love that she's gotten, and she hopes to be back with us within the month. Now, a big concern. Chris Yates's granddaughter, Charlotte, she's just a little toddler, and she lives with her mother, Sarah, Chris's daughter, and her family down near Atlanta. And Charlotte was exposed to COVID and got a fever. She doesn't have COVID, but she started having seizures, really lots of seizures, middle of last week. And they wound up airlifting her to the Children's Hospital of Atlanta, where she's still there. They said that she is not COVID positive. She's COVID negative, but she has tested positive for an adenovirus. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, Bert. Adenovirus. So she's getting better. They're watching her carefully. They've tweaked her medications, but she's not having the big seizures anymore, but she still had some small ones. So they're going to keep her there for a little bit longer. And on top of that, Chris's sister was in the hospital in another hospital in Atlanta with COVID-related pneumonia. So Chris has got thankfully her sister is done well and is being discharged and in time for the birth of her new granddaughter. So Chris has a lot on her shoulders right now, so let's everybody keep her in our thoughts and hearts. If any of you have something heavy on your mind this morning that you would like to represent by coming forward and lighting a candle, this is your chance to do that. And may the warmth of that candle bring some light to your heart.
Shall we gather at the river, where right angels guide and guard, with His Christian time forever, glory by the throne of God. Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God. On the waters of the river, washing up in silver spray, we will walk and worship ever all the happy golden day. Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God. Soon we'll reach the shining river. Soon our pilgrimage will cease. Soon our happy hearts will quiver with the melody of peace. Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God. That flows by the throne of God.
Join me in a time of prayer, meditation, and reflection. On this day, may we be ever mindful of the power, of the joy, and the feeding we can find in this faith community. May we be ever mindful of the responsibilities that come with membership, acceptance of one another as we are, a willingness to share the fullness of who we are at this point in our life's journey. May we be grateful for the encouragement and the acceptance that is foundational to life in this faith community. And may our faith tradition continue to feed the truth of who we already are, and perhaps more importantly, feed who we are in the process of becoming. May this place feel like a home. May we each continue to grow in the spirit of life.
Today's announcements. So if you don't listen to Fox News on a regular basis, this next announcement is for you. It's once again time for the National Public Radio Fall Fund Drive. And our congregation will get on-air sponsorship if you contribute to NPR through our church. So you simply go to the donations page on our church's website and look for public radio sponsorship. Or you can write a check to UUCR with the notation Fund 1050 Public Radio. And in the words of Gene Larson, our public radio sponsorship coordinator, may the sweet water of public radio pour down on you. We have a member of our congregation who has recently lost his car and actually needs a bicycle for basic transportation. So if you have a bike that you no longer need, an adult bike that you no longer need or use, if you could please get in touch with Carol Rowan, and she will make arrangements for the transfer. And our Pride Committee is staffing a booth at a local Pride Festival. This is a second Pride Festival of the year. Slightly different organization, but this is something our Pride Committee is supporting in order for our congregation to get welcoming congregation status. So we will have some church members staffing the booth. Special thanks to Leah, who has stepped forward to coordinate the effort. So we will have church members on site staffing the booth. Leah has some additional information for you, some flyers, so does Teresa Poole. So they're going to have a festival. There'll be games, carnival rides, entertainment. So we would ask you to consider going out to support our LGBTQ plus community and also our Pride Committee's work to become a congregation that is welcoming. Thank you. Thanks, Erica. Erica is also helping out with this. This is next Saturday, September 16th, and it's at the Vinton War Memorial. And I'm not familiar with that site, so we do have a map for you with information on the Vinton War Memorial. Next, we have the Pledge to End Racism. There will be a person and a table set up in the fellowship hall. So if you have some questions, you can speak to somebody about our next initiative in our Pledge to End Racism. And I'd just like to take a brief moment to thank our minister, Rev. Walter, Carrie, our choir, Jesse, who did the water service, the chairpersons of all our committees, our volunteers. You know, it takes a lot to run this church and even specifically to produce a service for you every week. So if you get a chance, it'd be great if you could thank someone after today's service for their efforts in sharing their expertise and their time.
Our final song is going to be Fire of Commitment. The words are in your order of service and on the screen. Yes, they are on the screen. It's behind me, so I don't know. And speaking of singing, next Sunday at 7, from about 7 to 7:30, there's going to be an old-fashioned hymn sing down at Heights Community Church outside. That's why it's only till 7:30, in support of Congregations in Action. So if you love singing hymns and you don't get to sing them that much, or you miss singing certain hymns that maybe we don't sing here, that's a great opportunity. So let's all rise and sing.
From the dawn of days remember, burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion seem to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, that our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion need to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
Go forth into the world. Let your light shine brightly. And may you be nourished by walking the path that is singularly yours to travel. Travel well. Amen.